Hello, book lovers. Welcome back to the channel. Visitors, if you happen upon the channel, feel free to join us. We'd love to have you here. We meet again. Hey, book lovers. I am your host, Blueeyed Black Devil, and I'm here with hopefully the final installment of the video revisited series featuring the book, The Help, by Kathryn Stockett. Now, in the last video, I talked mainly about our birth lengths and adult height. But in this particular video, I want to try to delve in and explain some of the other relationships that were impacted or developed. Unfortunately, we're still talking about Hilly. Now, Hilly has already lost a friendship with one of her best friends, or former best friends now, which was Skeeter Phelan. Now, Hilly's mother is on the decline, mentally speaking. They didn't say she had dementia or Alzheimer's, but something was going on there. And Hilly had decided that she just couldn't be bothered, so she was going to put her mother in a nursing home. Well, the three ladies, Skeeter, Hilly, and Elizabeth, would get together once a week or so to play bridge. Well, in one of those bridge bridge sessions, Aileen overheard Hilly telling the other people that she had to let Minnie go because she caught her stealing some silver. Now, I told you back in the first video that Minnie was highly sought after, but she kept losing jobs. Why? Because of her mouth. If she thought it or it popped up, it came out. And, moving on to the next one, that's how Minnie was. Now, she was working for Hilly until, let me see what had happened. It was storming one day or afternoon. It was coming down the sheets. She tried to ask if she could use the bathroom indoors. And Hilly's mom was like, oh, sure, go ahead. But no, not Hilly. Hilly was like, oh, no, she'll be fine. It's just rain. It's just water. And then she wouldn't allow her to use the umbrella to go outside. So Minnie left out of the room that Hilly and her mom was in, and she went on and used the bathroom in the house. The problem was that she couldn't get back out into where they were before Hilly caught her coming out of the bathroom, so she fired her on the spot. Then on another bridge game, Aileen overheard all of that, and she knew that Minnie was out of a job. Well, now, in college, Hilly used to date this man named Johnny Foote. They dated for a couple of years, I believe it was, but at some point, Johnny broke it off with Hilly and married Celia Foote. Now, Celia was born and raised in some place called Sugar Ditch, Mississippi. I tried to see if that was really a place, but I couldn't find anything. But yeah, she was from Sugar Ditch, and she did not come from Manning. She was the little country hick person who just didn't do anything. She wasn't domesticated at all. She could not cook, nor could she clean, which is why when Aileen found out that Minnie was in need of a job, and she overheard Hilly telling the others that she let her go for stealing silver. Well, eventually, Abilene sent Minnie to Celia Foots to apply for the job, and she got it. Long story short, she got the job. Well, at this time, Minnie, she had heard about some man breaking it off with Hilly in college, but she never saw whoever the man was. But while cleaning house one day, she did find a picture of Johnny and Hilly together. Why they would have a picture up in their house, Johnny and Celia, that is. Why would they have a picture of Johnny and Hilly? And I'm not saying you should have thrown the pictures away, but to her and put them in a photo album or stuff it in the door somewhere. I don't know. But I don't want to see no pictures of no exes of mine in my house, period, even though, well, anyway, nah, I don't like that. But anyway, now Celia knew that Hilly did not like her, but I believe Celia thought over time they would be able to mend or form a relationship, but that just goes to show you how little she knew of Hilly. What I don't understand is why Johnny kept encouraging her to try to join I think it was called the Junior League, and they would raise money for different charities. So they were getting ready for some formal affair, and Celia, while they were trying to get that together, Celia kept calling Hilly, trying to offer whatever she could do to, to be in with the Junior League. One day, Hilly and Celia ended up at the same beauty salon, same time. And she was telling Hilly she had been trying to get in touch with her. Well, Hilly was like, well, actually, we don't have any room for any newcomers right now, but do come to the party. She gave her some tickets, or a pair of tickets for Celia and Johnny to attend the affair. And she told her friends Skeeter and Elizabeth that she did invite her. And so, but gosh, now, if you are familiar with Dolly Parton, she has said on numerous occasions that her looks, the way she looks, with the big hair and the big boom booms or the big breasts, she said that growing up, there was a lady in her community that walked around looking like that every day, day in, day out. And she thought, oh, when I grow up and if I ever come into Savannah, I'm going to look like the town tramp. And those were per her words, not mine. But yes, that's how Dolly Parton got that. That's why we know her for her iconic looks today. Well, Celia patterned herself after Marilyn Monroe. She had that almost platinum blonde hair, and she was flighty and whimsical and all of that. Okay, so, Hilly invited her or told her she was more than welcome to come. Now, one other thing about Celia, she is, I don't know if you would say eclectic. No, she's not eclectic. That's not it. She was more, what's the word when you just got, eccentric. Yeah, I think that's it. Where you just go over the top and you just, because she had the big bouffant hairdo, she had large breasts, and she was skinny from like her chest down. But she also liked to dress the part. So she was all excited. She went back and told Minnie that she finally saw Hilly. And Hilly invited them her and Johnny to the formal. And Minnie just almost went through the floor because Sylvia did not realize that Minnie used to work for Hilly. But when Hilly and Sylvia were in the beauty salon, somehow Celia got around to telling her that she had been trying to contact her for the longest, she said, and then my maid, Minnie, came out and he was like, who did you say was your maid? She said, Minnie. And she kept on talking. Well, Hilly just, committed that to memory. And boy, when she found out that Minnie was working for Sylvia, she blackballed Minnie. Now, I don't know if it was anywhere else Minnie could have worked before she went to Minnie, because she had burned the bridges like double-digit times before. And her husband used to jump on her for, losing jobs because of her mouth. Well, and Minnie told Sylvia, please, at some point, please stop trying to get in touch with them. They know that you're trying to get in touch with them and they're not returning your calls. Just leave well enough alone. But when Hilda got home from the beauty salon, she was on a mission to find out how in the world Minnie was able to find work in Jackson, period. Well, eventually it was found out that Abilene had helped Minnie get that job. And I guess Hilly was out there trying to top trees. She was so doggone mad. And then here's, I think, the main reason Hilly is my least favorite character is because she had too much power over everybody. Nobody would try to reason with her or stand up to her. Well, we know Skeeter did when they finally had their little argument. But, yeah, because she went and she fired Minnie. Then, after she found out Abilene was the reason Minnie got the job at Sylvia's, she then goes to Elizabeth's house and demands that Elizabeth fire Abilene. Wow, now that's some, okay, I'll just keep that to myself. But how in the world do you decide it's okay to just go in someone else's house and demand they do something? And like a nut, Elizabeth fired Abilene. Now, at the time she had Abilene fired, see, after Minnie left with Hilly hired another lady named Yule May. Now, Yule May was, she was very well educated. She had graduated from college and everything. She married and she and her husband had a set of twins who they were also academically gifted. Well, when they got ready to graduate from high school, because their parents, Yuma and her husband, had been saving money ever since the babies were a few months old. But, 17, 18 years later, when it's time for them to go to college, they were $75 short of having the tuition. So she just took a chance and she asked Hilly if she could borrow the $75. She explained how well behaved her children were and how smart they are. And, we got most of the money. We're just short $75. Hilly said, no, I can't do that. God helps those who helps themselves. You may not like it now, but you'll thank me later. Well, she went on, you may did, with her chores. But she ran across a ring of Hilly's, of course. Now, it didn't have much of a financial value. It was more of a sentimental reason why Healy was holding on to the ring. And I don't even think Healy knew that it was worthless. But when the ring came up missing, because May took it, hoping to get the $75 for the boys to go to college. But after Healy discovered the ring was missing, she fired her and she had her put in jail. Well, the rest of the community, the help community, your Abelings and Minis and whoever, they all, the church, the pastor, they all chipped in for the boys to go ahead and go to college. Their hard work was worth being rewarded. So they still went to college, although May was still in jail. I think she had to do, I won't quote because I can't remember, but she had to do a number of years. But the pastor reassured her that, don't worry, your children and your husband are going to make it. They're going to be okay. We paid the rest of the tuition. I don't know if that was for all of the 4 years or 2 years, or if it was just for that one semester or quarter. Whatever it is, it was more than they had to do, but everybody understood May's plight. And no one is saying that it was okay that she took the ring. That was not it. It was more or less the reason they had rallied around her is because at one time or another, all of them had some kind of situation to arise between themselves and Healy. So Healy didn't like it, but she couldn't do anything about it. And now let's talk a little bit about Abilene and Minnie's relationship. Now, Minnie was 15, 16 years younger than Abilene. But Abilene took her under her wing. And, she coached her and taught her. And, she was always trying to make her remember, remember why you lost this job so we can try to do things different on this next job. Because really and truly, I don't believe Minnie would have been able to find another job in Jackson, Mississippi at that time because she was well known and Healy was well known. But because, I really believe because Healy saw Celia more or less as what they call, trailer trash. So it didn't matter that she worked for her. She just got mad because she didn't intend for Minnie to work, period. So that was their relationship. But now, Minnie, I told you, Minnie nursed Abilene back to health after her son, what was his name? Treelord. Abilene's son, Treelord, died. She went through and made sure she ate and, just took care of her. And that happened for a few months. And I think Abilene feels like she owes Minnie that gratitude. Well, after Abilene got fired, I seen a movie clip where Abilene had to go tell May Mobley that she wasn't ever coming back. Whoever it is that labeled that, the most touching scenes was correct. Because when she walked in that room, that little girl reached out for Aibileen. And Aibileen got down on her knees so she could be on her level. And she told her she wouldn't come back. And that baby was like, no, you have to. And then she's like, no, I know, but it's my time. I got to go. She said, you got another little girl to take care of? She said, no, baby, May Mobley, you still my last baby, you and your brother. Now, while all of that was happening, Elizabeth was just standing in the doorway, seeing and hearing May Mobley cry. So Aibileen sat with her for a little bit, but then she did have to get up and leave. She stopped on her way out and tells Elizabeth, you better take care of that baby. And then she left. Now, she could have tried to get another job and probably would have gotten it elsewhere. But by then, she was like, I think 53 or 54. And I guess that was considered old back in the early to mid-60s. So she just decided to draw her pension and just live quietly, live out the rest of her life quietly. Well, then, Minnie, she was pregnant with her sixth child by her husband, Leroy, when he found out. Well, eventually, though, that's what happened. Hilly's husband, William Holbrook, he was a failed politician. And then he had made Leroy, no, he fired Leroy. He fired Leroy because Minnie was working for Celia and Johnny Foote. That was not what was supposed to be happening. And then Leroy never hit Minnie while she was pregnant, but this particular time he did. And just so happens that Minnie had gotten fed up, so she had decided to leave Leroy and take her kids to go to live with the sister or something and just start over there. But their Aibileen and Minnie's relationship was a pretty strong bond there. Now, when it comes to the help, as in Aibileen or Aibileen and Minnie, remember I told you that Skeeter had gotten a job at the local newspaper, and she was supposed to be writing articles about, tips and tricks to cooking or how to clean anything. Ask questions like, how do you get this stain out? And what you do, all that kind of stuff. Well, in her talking to Aibileen, she gradually got up the nerve to ask her if she knew her maid Constantine. Aibileen says, yeah, I knew Constantine, but then she realized she may have said too much because Skeeter pounced on it. And she was like, do you know how to get in touch with her? Do you have an address or a phone number? And Minnie was like, no, well, how did you know her? We attended the same church, Aibileen told her. And they really didn't know when she left. She just, one day was just not at church. And when they heard anything else about her, she had passed away. So it kept on, and she started, Aibileen and Skeeter started having clandestine meetings because Skeeter wanted to write a book where the help could tell their stories. So, they could talk at Elizabeth for a little bit, but she would always find a reason to come in there during the meeting. So they would just talk on light subject matters or whatever. And I believe one of the times Hilly told Elizabeth to go in there and see what they were talking about. So they just always kept it above board at work. But eventually they started meeting up at Abelin's house. And it took Abeline a month of country Sundays to get Minnie to agree to tell her story. But when Minnie came aboard, little by little the word got out that this white lady, rich lady, was wanting to tell their stories. And gradually they all ended up telling their stories. Now, when Kathryn called back to New York City to tell them that she had her story ready, and that lady was like, well, how many chapters do you have? She said, I have 3 or 4. She was like, honey, you need at least 12. So it threw them in a bind because they still wanted this book to come out by the end of the year, top of the next year. So Abeline and Minnie started asking around. She eventually, I think, ended up with 12 stories. One of the stories was kind of told by Trevor, Abeline's son, who's now deceased. But he had began writing plans. He had began to start writing a book, so he had a few chapters already. Abeline read through them, and that's how she added her story to his. So he was still heard through that book. Well, when the book was published, who was that? Oh, yeah, some old talk show person was talking about they were going to review the book, The Help. And Abeline was like, oh, no. She hadn't been fired at this time. She was like, oh, please don't. Or at least, please, Hilly. Elizabeth, please don't come in here. But what do you know? Elizabeth did come in. And when she saw that man on that TV talking about the book, she was like, oh, I got to tell Hilly. So she called Hilly, but I think she wasn't there. And so she went on and told, because the book was supposed to be about anonymous people. No real names had been used. But because of all of the stories, everybody else felt like, yeah, it had to be The Help easing around talking and telling their stories. Boy, Hilly was slapped out mad, but what could she do? The book had finally been published. Now, I had, I think, two favorite scenes. One of them was about Celia and Minnie. They were in the kitchen, and they were talking, and then Minnie had got heated. She was just getting ready to start snapping. But Hilly was like, no, what is that? Look in the woods. So they looked out the kitchen window to the woods, and they seen a naked man just walking around. And finally, he looked around and saw them. He showed no shame. He just kept doing whatever he was doing. So, Celia was like, get away from my house. And he was like, I ain't going nowhere. Something smart, he said. And Lee said something like, or Benny said something like, don't make me chase you. He was like, N-word, you too fat to chase me. You'll be all out of breath. Then he starts pleasuring himself again. He's like, you want a piece of this peck of pie? How about that? You want some of this pack of pie? I'm like, gosh, that's in chapter 24 of the book. That was funny. But I wished I knew how to incorporate movie clips in my videos because that chocolate pie, I can tell it, and I know I won't do it justice. But this is what happened. During that junior league gathering, Minnie normally worked, but she thought she wasn't going to be able to attend this time, but she decided that she would go to help Abilene. And it was at Hilly's house, of course. But Hilly let her go on in there. But in that movie, the clips I kept looking at, Hilly was sitting there tearing that chocolate pie up. She was like, oh, the pie is good as always. Minnie said, well, I'm glad you liked it. Then another couple of bites, she's like, what do you put in here to make it taste so good? Minnie said, some good vanilla out of Mexico and something real special. Then Mrs. Walters came in and she got ready to cut her a piece. Minnie said, no, Miss Walters, that's Hilly's chocolate pie. Hilly said, well, Mama can have a piece. Minnie kept sitting there, and finally Hilly hollered, get a plate. Now, Minnie had heard and put up with all she was going to hear. She was like, eat my... Hilly stood up and said, what did you just say? I said, eat my... Hilly said, are you out of your mind? Minnie hurried up and said, no, ma'am, but you'll be out of yours in a minute. After you did what you did, eat the pie. So Hilly said, well, what was something about that pie? Because you just did. Then, it cut to the chocolate pie and back to Hilly and Minnie. Boy, when Hilly realized what had happened, she literally started barfing in her head. But what made it funny to me was her mother laughed literally off of that chair almost. Oh, she killed herself running. When Hilly went running out to the bathroom, Minnie sat there for a minute. Then she jumped up and was running away. Miss Walters was still killing herself laughing. Then she hollered, run, Minnie, run. Boy, that was fun. I bet that lady laughed for about 2 minutes straight. Well, it got out that Minnie had put some excrement in the chocolate pie. And when Miss Walters found out what it was, she was like, still laughing at Hilly talking about, you didn't just eat one, you ate 2 slices of Miss Minnie pie. Boy, she started back up laughing again. That was too funny, but it got out what had happened. And so at another time, Hilly and her mom was coming from somewhere. I think it was Thanksgiving that was going on. They were coming somewhere. Hilly said, you going to come and eat with us tonight? And Miss Walters said, oh, no, I have a pie to eat. Hilly said, you throw that pie away now. She said, no, I spent too much money on this pie, and I did it for you. Hilly said, you were the one that signed me up for that chocolate pie? Boy, the mom said, now, I may not know my name or what country I'm living in, but the 2 things I cannot seem to forget is that, 1, my daughter put me in a nursing home, and 2, that you ate Minnie's ish. That was just beautiful. That was great. Well, after, she just kept running around Hilly did. That was not my pie. I did not eat that pie. But no matter, you know how people are when they have their minds made up, you can't really change it. But Hilly, I think that was the final straw when Minnie pushed back. And now, and I already told you, she had Skeeter blackballed. I don't know, if she ever, because to me, I believe I would have left town altogether. But she didn't. She just kept on living and being busybodies. I'm trying to see if there was anything else between Minnie and Abeline I wanted to say. But I can't remember what it was, so I think we're okay. So this is how the book ended. Minnie left to go live with one of her sisters, and Abeline just lived alone quietly. And Skeeter, that's what it was. Skeeter finally got that job in New York City, and she was telling Minnie and Abeline about it, and they just kept trying to encourage her to go ahead and accept the job. And then Minnie said something like, yeah, because, ain't no man, you're not involved with the man. And I know your mother and father are here. You'll come back to see about them, but you don't just have to stay here. And so she went with their blessings. She left and went to New York City. What I don't know is what eventually happened with Hilly. Okay, now I think that's it. So that concludes this video. Let me see if there's anything else I want to ask you all or tell you to be on the lookout. Well, nope. I'm good to go. Anyway, subscribers, thanks for being subscribed. And visitors, also subscribers, let's make the visitors welcome. And then also like and share the video. If you happen to leave me a comment and I can read them. Please do so respectably. And everybody, whatever you do, please take time, make sure that not only are your notifications bells are turned on, please have them set to like. Now, apparently, YouTube is on their stuff again. They've been running around unsubscribing people. But I hadn't lost any subscribers, so I guess I should consider myself fortunate. So yeah, make sure you're still subscribed to Blue-Eyed Black Devil, both on YouTube and Facebook. And like I said, make sure they're set to all. And in the meantime, book lovers, remember this. You know the old routine. As long as there are books around, there is always something to read. Book lovers, I thank you once again for watching and participating in these videos. How am I participating in these videos? You're participating by liking, sharing, and commenting. So that's how I say you participate. And I think that wraps this up for now. So I think the next book I'm going to read is If She Only Knew by Lisa Jackson. So that's what I'm getting ready to work on now. So once again, thank you again for subscribers, for being subscribers. And thank you to the visitors that just happened upon the channel. Don't be shy. Go ahead. Hit that notification. Well, subscribe so you can be in on all of the shenanigans over here. We do have a good time.